Welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Oh, my goodness. What do we got going on? Okay, are you ready, everybody? Be irresistible. Looking good is a business decision. Today, joining me, my friend, colleague, Colette Marie Steffen. She is the host of The Truth is Funny. She's also this amazing artist, which you're going to hear about here more. But here's the thing. Are you ready to understand why the truth is funny and that the end game is all about shifting? Shift happens. That's what this is about. Whether you've read her book, whether you listen to a fabulous hit radio show, whether you look at working with her one-on-one or in groups, or in the end, if one of the things you want to do is upgrade your energy, upgrade your life, this is the show you want to listen to. How do you attract your authentic desires with ease of bees to blossom? And that's what today is about. I'm so glad you're joining me, Miss Colette Marie Steffen. Thank you.
Pat, thank you so much for the wonderful, wonderful introduction. And I'm so excited to be on the show with you. I admire you so much. This is my 6th year of working with you.
Yes.
And I have to say that you have been one of the huge blessings in my life. And all the good work that you're doing, you and I were just talking before this show that it's starting to fall into place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're not dealing with small little stuff.
Yeah. But you and I have also worked offline together. And what I love is there is a gift and a talent that each of us have respectively. You're able to cut to the chase and help people in ways that many, many years of psychology couldn't, many, many years of doctor stuff couldn't, many, many years of trying to figure out what money is about couldn't. And that's what today's about. What if we could do something which is instantaneous? What if today everybody out there writes down this number, 1-800-930-2819, or actually you should like to have that programmed in your smartphone. That's our listener call. That's our listener call-in number, because this is about getting an energetic upgrade and making some shift happen. All right, let's start by talking about what an energetic upgrade is, because why should we upgrade our energy? See, we still don't know the importance of energy in our life. We need a little schooling right here.
Okay, so I'm happy to school. I was not much one for school when I was going to school, but now I understand why. Like I've been writing these manuals. Like I wrote a book, I guess 5 years ago almost now. And it was 513 pages. It was way longer than I thought it was going to be. And I cut it down because it was everything that I had accumulated in the 10 years that I had been doing energy work back then. When I say doing energy work, what I mean is that fundamentally all of us have this ability, all of us. So I was so blessed to have so much shift happen in my life. People were dying in my family, left, right, and center. And if they weren't dying, they were suffering before they died. And I was struggling with this. I was struggling with looking after my 2 daughters, getting them to all their events, working a full-time job, getting to the hospital, sometimes to visit 3 people in 3 different hospitals because everybody in the family got sick all of a sudden at once. And this carried on for like 7-8 years. And I've written a short story in a book called Life Sparks, Stories of Inspiration, regarding my father and his journey. And my father, at the age of 68, collapsed. And in 36 hours, he was paralyzed from head to toe and could only blink his right eye.
Wow.
So I was at the hospital with him on and off every day almost for 4 years. Wow. Sometimes I was carpooling. I was responsible for making sure kids got to their stuff. You know what I mean? Both my daughters were competitive. They in competitive sports. My oldest daughter was in figure skating, in Taekwondo. She was at nationals in both those sports. She was also in cheerleading, and so was my other daughter, and they were both competing at a national level and sometimes at a world level. This required a lot of bingos. This required a lot of creative solutions to how to make money so that you can make this happen for them. At the same time that a bunch of people are not doing well. And so when my father collapsed and within 36 hours he was paralyzed from head to toe, he became my number one priority at that time, because I was able at that time, I had just moved to the city. I was just a mile away. And so 4 years I found myself at the hospital reversing roles with my father, and I was parenting him. At one point, when he had his trichotomy reversed, and he was like he was supposed to be able to breathe on his own, and then they found out he couldn't. Yeah. He was also on warfarin, and he was going to bleed to death if they did surgery. So they had to wait like at least 36 hours, and he couldn't breathe. So I picked up my Lamaze breathing from when I was pregnant, and I sat with him for those hours and breathed with him to keep him alive before he had the surgery. These are creative solutions to a situation when you just don't know what to do. Yeah. And I was so blessed to after my father passed and my niece was in a tragic car accident and died at the scene and was revived and was brought back by a remote healer, basically. I was like, hey, I'm in. I'm going to find out how to do this. I'm going to find out if I can do it. I'm going to find out if other people can do it. And I'm going to find out how to do it. And I'm going to tell people how to do this. And I was very bullied in school. So I was scared to talk. So I did what the natural thing to do would be. I phoned a belly dance instructor and said, I need to learn how to be on a stage.
Oh my gosh. But
that doesn't seem like a rational thing to do. But a year later, I was doing a solo in a bar, dancing, and everybody told me I had the best shimmy ever, but it was just because my knees were shaking so bad because I was so scared. And then you contacted me shortly after, and said, I think you should do a radio show. And I'm like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. But you know what? I have, since then, one of my mentors, my first mentor, Dr. Cam Ewan, told me that he gave me permission to teach his method at certification because he said I was doing it for the right reasons and I was most likely not to succeed out of everybody he had ever met. But he said, but you're very convincing and you're very good at this. You know when you get convincing is what you need to be.
Exactly. I was just going to ask you about it because, you and I, we come from places that most people see us and hear us. And, you have a fabulous show. I have
a fabulous life.
I was just going to say, you have a fabulous life. And, people were talking to me like after I finally graduated, after taking summer school class twice. And people were like, honey, the only place you're going is to a 5x5 cell that has bars on it. And
listen to me. I just watched, or somewhere, I don't even remember where, a video where this man is saying, and I don't know, he's quite respected. Like, you have to excuse me because right now I'm writing my layer 4 manual. And I'm dreaming about Nikola Tesla. And I'm dreaming about what Nikola Tesla has to say about the 369. And, feel free. He and I have been working together for 10 years, and now he's hosting my radio show, co-hosting the first Thursday or the first Wednesday of every month. And I sent him, like, I had Kelly Leidick on my show, and she was recommended by you. Yeah. And she gave us what she called a incubation for dreaming. And quite frankly, I'm very lazy, so I didn't do what I said, but I corrected myself to as if I had done what she said.
Yeah.
And I woke up to this dream doing math in my head.
Wow.
About Tesla and the Ennead, which is what Phil and his brother are speaking about, which is extremely, like, something that Phil has been working with his brother for 2 years on. Phil and I have brought it into our corrections, our energetic shifts. And the beauty of it is that as you start to understand, there are 9 personalities on this earth in the Ennead, and there's 12 in the astrological chart. There's so many different cycles and rhythms and numbers that we can go weak to, and we might think that it's this or that, but if you test it energetically, a lot of us are just being caught right now in repeating cycles. And these are it's like computer programming. You get into like people talk about Facebook having a certain algorithm that only allows 26 people to contact you if you do things incorrectly. Mm-hmm. This happens in many cycles, in many rhythms, in many processes in our lives numerically. And this is what Nikola Tesla was aware of.
Yeah.
So you know me.
Yeah.
I'm writing coloring books.
Yeah. I know.
Explain some of the most complicated processes. So I woke up in the wee hours of the morning at like 3:30 in the morning, and I'm writing like a mad woman what I'm computing in my dreams what Nikola Tesla was talking about, the 369. And I sent it to Phil, and he's like, oh my God. I said, Phil, you take all the numbers of the Ennead, 9 different personality types, and you take their wings, and the wings are either going to make them strong or weak. If you take all those numbers, they repeat 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. So, and what I discovered in my dream is that 3 rules God's thumbprint, 6 rules God's thumbprint. Those are 3 rules. 1, 2, 4, and 5. 5, 7, and 8 are ruled by 6. If you put them in an infinity symbol.
Wow.
And so I discovered all this, and I realized, 3, 6, 9, then you add it up and you get back to a 9. This is what Nikola Tesla was talking about, that the frequency of numbers, it's like tuning into a radio station.
Yes, yes.
And so sometimes we can hit a certain number. And, I energetically picked up about a week ago that you were weak to your age.
I'm weak to my what?
Age. And so
How old I am?
Yeah. How old are you? Mind sharing with us?
I'm going to be 68.
Yeah. So you're 67 right now.
I am.
But when I picked up what is weak about 67,
wait a minute. When did you get this hit? Because this is really curious now.
About a week ago.
Okay. Yes. Do you know what I was doing a week ago?
What?
Okay. This is perfect. I was playing in a table tennis tournament. Now, here's the deal. I love to play. So I was playing with a bunch of my friends, and it was the Washington State thing. So a week ago, not like this Friday, but a week ago Friday, I was in this tournament playing with this woman because I didn't know how this worked, Colette. Like I wasn't really clear how they were going to do it because they do it by age. I just want to play with my friend Tipsy. And so here we go. And so all of a sudden we're playing and it's like, well, wait a minute. We're actually playing in her age group, 52, 5'2", 5'2". And and I said to her, I mean, there was a realization about age in this thing that I love to do that never entered my consciousness till this moment. And I thought about you, and I thought I could let this thing really get to me, right? In the middle of playing something I love, where I'm playing this deal and I'm worrying about the fact that everybody else out there is 15 years younger than me. Or I could simply show up and play.
There you go.
But you're right about it.
And I was walking on the beach.
To me.
I was walking on the beach in
Oh,
the water,
oh,
and you popped into my brain, and did you win?
gold medal.
Of course, because you popped into my brain, and as I walked up and down the beach, whatever you were doing at that moment, I was just strengthening you to it.
Right.
And your
that's what today's
weakness.
show is about. Well,
Yeah.
I just want to say to everybody, this is about all y'all out there, like you call into the show. I brought Colette especially on to all of you, for all of you, because what she does, you're going to hear it right now in what she says. She will strengthen this. Are you worried about money? Are you worried about your health? Are you worried about your job? Are you worried about your children? Are you not taking that next step in your life to do your own radio show because you got some reason? Are you not taking that next step to play in a table tennis tournament with people 15, 17 years younger than you? Are you not ... This is 1-800-930-2819. We're going to adjust this. 1-800-930-2819. So what did you do on the beach?
Well, what happened is I'm walking along, and you popped into my consciousness.
Oh, man.
I saw a little picture of your little beautiful face.
Ah!
And I was like, whatever she's doing, it's strengthened. And you were weak to your age, 67.
Yeah.
But when I said it out loud, 67, it came up 627.
What does that mean?
And between the ages of 6 and 7, something happened to you that
Oh, yeah.
formed
Oh, my
up.
God. Are you kidding? Oh.
No,
Oh.
so
Oh.
you went. Do you feel that energy running through you
Oh.
right now?
When
You see,
I
it's
was sick.
never
Oh.
what you think
Ooh.
it is.
Oh,
It
my God.
never is what you think it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can
So
sit
you
there.
know-
What happened to you when you were between 6 and 7?
Okay, that had to be a pivotal year of trauma for me. At age 6, right before I was to turn 7, funny you brought that up, my dad had removed me from my household, and I started to bounce around to all of my relatives, Mrs. Meany, and then, because they couldn't stand me, because honestly, I was hiding on the fire escape and all sorts of stuff. I mean, come on, you know me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was...
You were in crises.
I was choking the dog.
Yeah.
And so what they did was...
What happened that you were in crises at the
There
age
it
of
is.
6?
Well, they took me away from my mother. People are wondering why people at the border are crazy. Take a 6-year-old away from a loving mother, my birth mother. But here's the deal. They put me in Catholic boarding school. Nobody goes to Catholic boarding school at age 6. And you don't leave a kid there in Catholic boarding school. And I was beat every night in Catholic boarding school because I refused to start jumping up on the beds. And then the second thing was that I was put there because my mom, which I didn't find out till I was 40-ish, my mom attempted suicide because my dad had put her on medication to shut her up. And then I'm in boarding school, and I turned to Sister Michael Anthony, and we're in the church. I'm the only child in the church with all the nuns now. And I look at the 9th station of the cross, and Jesus says to me, hey, your mother is with me now, don't worry. And I said, Sister Michael Anthony, Jesus told me, grabbed me by my ear, took me to Mother Superior. Mother Superior lifts up her head and says, she didn't lie. Her mother is with Jesus. My mother committed suicide. And so there we are, age 6. I'm probably the only 6-year-old in the history of the church that got thrown out because my Southern Baptist, almost to be stepmom, came in and told the nuns off, and off I went. That's age 6. My mother committed suicide November 22nd of that year. And that's what was going on between age 6 and 7. We were burying my mother.
Okay. see how it's not what you think it is?
Yeah.
So you were thinking that you were weak to playing a game.
I thought.
With people that were 15 years younger than you.
Yes.
And I'm telling you what you were weak to. You weren't even weak. What you were triggered, like you are every time you think of 6 and 7. This whole year must have been brutal for you.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in age. You know what I mean? I don't believe in age.
I don't either.
Leroy Maloof is on my show quite often, and I've worked with him, and we went to Egypt together. And he's 86, and he's been married 65 years.
Wow.
And you know what? He is on his 13th or 14th or 15th career. That man is putting on a webinar right now. He is a fountain of knowledge. He's 86 years old, and he's doing more than a lot of people that are 68 years old.
Yeah.
And he's doing a lot more than a lot of people that are 28 years old. It doesn't matter, like, about your age. You can, a lot of people feel that we get heavier and older because of age, but we age because we get heavier and older. You see?
Yeah, I do see. And, it's interesting because I don't generally think about my age. I rarely can even remember how old I am.
I know, but the trigger was that when you say it out loud, it's 66
7.
to 7. That was the worst years of your life. And right at the but having said that, at that moment, our subconscious mind is done being formed by the time we're 7. So Jesus Christ stepped in to speak to you.
Yeah.
And a lot of children at that age, like once your subconscious mind is formed, a lot of people, when they go under very deep stress, what happens if they're under a lot of anxiety, their subconscious mind is what they rely on. Your subconscious mind is what the nuns gave you, what your dad gave you, what your stepmother gave you, what your culture told you, where you lived, how you were raised, your mother dying. All of those things are your subconscious mind. And 96% of the time, people will rely on that to find answers rather than to go deeper inside themselves and find out what you have to say about yourself.
Yeah.
Which would be your, like your entire being. And because all of the memories are held in the spine, in the cerebral spinal fluid, the central nervous system, the brain and your spine and all the components of that, plus 30% of your heart is made up of central nervous system. And now they're starting to find that also you have another brain in your stomach, in your gut. And so if we do not listen to our body and we ignore these little gentle nudges that the universe gives us, eventually you have to get like the frying pan over the head because we don't listen. And if we listen to the frying pan, then we get the 2x4. We're getting the 2x4 right now all around the world.
Yeah, I agree. And, part of this too is with when I think about this and I think about what you just raised, I'm also struck by something also very important. I've had a rough year in terms of looking at myself, and I fell down playing table tennis, right? So I had a little injury, but actually it doesn't really hold me back. But the year you're talking about,
It's been a son of a gun.
That when I go back to age 6 and 7, you know what the one thing I remember about that? It isn't about my mother dying or a suicide, because I didn't know about that. That has been the loneliest point in time in my life. What I went through during that year as a child, and the emptiness you feel from being stripped from your parents and then stripped from your family. Like my sister didn't even come pick me up on weekends. There's a sense of loneliness around that. that is so hard to describe, because as a 6-year-old, it's very tribal. It's very primitive. But that loneliness, that thing, when it gets triggered, it's not so much about my mother's suicide. I think what you're saying is we have triggers that happen, and when they happen, we can't make sense of it because we're trying to focus on a thing in front of us, and it may not be that. We're going to take a short break.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, if you want to find out what's really going on, if you want to create a shift, are you worried about anything? Is something not happening in your life that you think should happen? 1-800-930-2819. Give us a call. When we come back, I'm going to give you lots of information about Colette. And we're going to talk about what the heck do we make of a year like this, and then what do we do with it? Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Is traditional medicine not working for you? Do you still feel as if your health isn't 100%? Here at the Holistic Medical Center, Dr. Nushin Darvish and the qualified staff look through the dimensions of wellness and start a healing plan prioritized to your needs. Our physicians assess the whole you until complete health is achieved. Get the help you need by visiting drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
If you're one of the millions of Americans suffering from anxiety, you probably know how powerless and out of control this emotion can make you feel. This is why it is so important to remember that anxiety is created by your mind, which means that you can learn to use your mind to uncreate it. Hello, my name is Dr. Friedman Schaub. My award-winning book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution, provides you with a step-by-step breakthrough process to understand and resolve the root causes of your anxiety and build a solid foundation of confidence and inner peace. If you're ready to take your power back, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com. That's thefearandanxietysolution.com, or call 866-903-6463. That's 866-903-MIND.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health. Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
Are you searching? Looking for a sign? A message you need to hear? From the great unknown, from the most mysterious place that is the most familiar to your soul in the depths of who you are. The universe put someone here to talk to, someone God gave a blessing to, that you may find insight with. TheAngelLady.net. 1-800-323-1790. 1-800-323-1790.
Hey, everybody, we have got some stuff going on. We are ready to take your calls. For those of you out there want to get some insight from somebody that absolutely knows how to get to whatever it is that's blocking you. And, you know, this is really something that Colette and I have been on the show before, and we have talked about everything from finding how to adjust for Lyme disease, and much more. But I want to make sure that folks know, one, how they can find out more about you, how they can listen to your show, how they can work with you, all of the above. So please, let's give out some information.
Okay. It's kind of crazy because sometimes I'm embarrassed at how much I do.
I am too. What is up with that?
It's coming up like a spiritual weakness to being above average. And what I was saying to you during the break is you only have to be 1% better than anyone else at anything you do. And most people want to be perfect. And what I learned, we were talking about this Christ energy. Christ, I did quite a bit of ayahuasca ceremony in Peru. And Christ came through and Christ told me many things. And people don't want to hear that. That's why the nuns slapped you around. How dare you say that Christ would speak to you personally? Well, that's what prayer is, for crying out loud.
Yes.
And Christ is a portal of energy that's just pure beauty and love. And so when I went out and I was scared to speak in public, I just asked Christ, if I don't have the words, can you please put them in my mouth for me?
Yeah.
You see, this is something for information regarding me. I have taken many modalities. For 12 years now, I have studiously every day worked probably 16 to 20 hours a day on how to shift energy. And my first mentor was such a genius. Nobody really, he's so brilliant that you can't explain brilliance. It's kind of like Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla, the reason why most people on this planet are really freaking out right now is because there's so much misinformation out there. I mean, Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb. He was a very good marketer. And he liked to electrocute animals to prove that Nikola Tesla didn't know what he was doing.
Oh, jeez.
Nikola Tesla was already working on cell phones in 1919. Much of our what we use as technology today was inspired by his good work. And he died a very lonely man, very poor.
Wow.
And I never read about him in school.
Wow.
Why isn't he in our textbooks? I want to know.
That is a really good question.
Why is Nikola Tesla, who has created all of these beautiful, wonderful inventions, but he was a lousy marketer. Pat, that's where you come in. Known you. And he was from New York too.
Well, wait a minute. So everybody go to thetruthisfunny.com. So let's get everybody over there.
Yeah.
And then I want to encourage.
Go to Tales.
Yeah, I was just going to send them that.
From the Victor.com, which is where I've been painting an oracle for 12 years now.
Oh.
And I didn't mention it for the first 4 or 5 years because it's a bunch of dragons and they're from the Intergalactic Federation of Light. But now that I have looked into it more, I understand where these beautiful, wonderful beings are. Like I paint them and they're 3-by-4 foot paintings. And there's 64. And I was like, 64? Oh my God.
Wow.
And I'm now on number 61.
Yeah.
And so Tales from the Vector, you can go check those out. I like to share my information because it's information I'm sharing. I'm not creating a program. What I'm doing right now is I have a new program out called Call to Dance.
Wow.
My manuals are about 90 pages long each. I'm on my 4th one now. I do not call them levels. I call them layers. Like the 7-layer veil dance. When people talk about energy work, quite often what they will say is it's like peeling an onion.
Yeah.
And as you keep the layers away, but peeling onions, you still cry.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
So I decided, let's do a veil dance and throw a veil off 1 layer at a time to get to the gem inside. So none of us, I'll tell you right now, if you've had a tough year, good for you. That means you're ready to move forward.
Yeah.
You put the time, you put the energy in. What's happening right now, we have 8 planets in retrograde. when planets go into retrograde, what it means is that it looks like from the Earth's perspective, like they're going backwards, but they're just sort of sitting there.
Oh, wow.
And so we've got 8 planets doing this right now.
Wow.
So if you've been having this kind of like last 2 months where nothing's happening and no matter what you do, it won't work, it's okay. Go deep inside yourself and ask, what is it that I really want to, what are my authentic desires? That's what my Be Irresistible program is about. Wow. So I have now on Facebook, I have a Be Irresistible page spelled B-E-E. I have a Tales from the Vector, and I also have my Truth is Funny. And my Be Irresistible, I used to do years ago telespas, where people can, it's $40. You can sign up. You can check this out at thetruthisfunny.com. And I have people send in one issue, like a sentence long. But right now, like on Thursday, this coming week on the 9th, is the telespa. And the first one was Be Irresistible. You can actually energetically shift yourself to be younger than you really are.
Yeah. Wow.
You did when you were playing that tennis.
Yeah.
You know what? You had no doubt your body had total memory.
Yeah.
Because you've done this before. You know you're good at it. You won 2 gold medals.
Yeah. Well, let's do this. We have a caller that is calling from New York. Yes. New York. We're talking about New York, and we have a caller from New York. Mr. Benny, who do we have?
We'll take Nisa calling in from New York, of course. Nisa, welcome to the show.
Hey, Nisa.
Hi, Nisa.
Hi.
What can we do for you today?
Yeah, I was looking at this thing. There's some, you guys were doing something, like an energetic healing or a reading or something?
Upgrade. No, energetic upgrade. So we want to know, like you heard Colette talk about, like how she was strengthening me, right? And so what do you need strengthened in your house? And maybe I'll turn you over to Colette Marie and let her figure it out.
Okay. What would you like to accomplish in this next 5 minutes?
Yeah.
In terms of what? I don't know.
Of anything. Is there something that, do you have a pain in your body? Are you worried about something? Do you wish you could have something that you don't have?
Constipation.
Constipation.
Yes.
Okay, so on a scale, I like to get a baseline on a scale 0 to 10. 10 being, like, I'm really upset about this, and 0 being, I don't care at all, whatever. Where are you on that scale?
Maybe a 5.
Yeah, I got you're a 5 because you're stuck in the middle. What age are you?
I'm over 35.
Okay, so you're over 35.
I'm over 35 too.
Me too.
Like,
and actually,
as long as you know that.
I'm over 35 by a couple of decades.
Okay, so
what really?
I want, Okay, so what I want you to understand is, like, I'm getting the energy from you that you're stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
And like on my telespa, I talk about this quite a bit. My telespa, people say, isn't that shallow? There's all these big problems in the world, and you're working on people wanting to have perky boobs. That's on Thursday. My call is Perk Up. The last one, I think, was facial re-engineering. The one before that was fat wallet, skinny jeans. I have people who are now that they are releasing weight just by being on my call, and they went off sugar, and they don't even know why. They didn't even plan to. Actually, what happened, I did my fat wallet, skinny jean call, and since I was 13 years old, I've had 2 sugars, raw sugar in my coffee. And for the first time, I ran out of sugar that day after my call. And I've been off sugar ever since. I have no cravings for sugar. I like my coffee without sugar in it.
Yeah, I do too now.
Who knew?
Yes.
And my whole life, I was telling myself that I have to have sugar in my coffee, because I did that since I was 13. I had my first business when I was 15. So, it's kind of one of those things, like, where you recognize, wait a minute, do I really? And this is what's going on with you. So when people are constipated, it means that they're stuck. And quite honestly, what happens, and this is what's coming up for whatever reason right now, the number one weakness for the people that are listening right now is age. And I'm going to tell you, looking good is a business decision. Many metaphysical people that are in alternative healing modalities don't look that good. Like, you know what I mean? So they'll say, like, I'm focusing on the world, like there's starving children in the world. I have to focus on them. They don't put the energy into themselves. And so I'm just strengthening you and everybody else listening right now. When we get constipated, that is our body telling us that we're not breathing. When our our lungs are very intimately connected to our colon. And we have an ascending, a transverse, and a descending colon. And if those three components, the ileocecal valve is at the small intestine, large intestine, and then you've got the valve of Houston, which is down by your rectum. So, you know, I laugh about this because my book, The Truth is Funny, when people buy it, like I had all sorts of people, like, and I mean, contacting me, I got your book and I'm on the toilet, having a shift. My book is actually toilet humor. So the average person thinks that if they have one bowel movement a day, that would be enough. And it's more beneficial to have 10 a day. What people don't understand is if they're eating food and they're weak to what they're putting in their body, what happens is it gets stuck. So, you know, if like for 35 years, I've been putting sugar in my coffee and one day I decide I'm not going to do that anymore, all of a sudden my body's going, woo, this is awesome. And you see, people have a weakness to change. Yeah. And so you have a weakness to eliminating things from your life. Yeah. And one of the things when I studied with Nassim Haramein that stuck with me is when he said there is no beginning and there is no end. Mm-hmm. And once you get used to that, you can get used to anything in between. So what I teach people is how to actually identify and eliminate the actual energetic weakness that is causing them a problem. And like in Pat's case, it was just the fact that when she said, oh my God, I'm 67, she heard 627. Yeah. And when she was 6 to 7 years old, that was the worst time of her life ever. And so she's reliving it every single day while she's 67 until I corrected it. And now she's not, because now she doesn't care. Do you care if you're 67, Pat? I don't really, no. It's like you're 5, who cares? Yeah. And actually the experience from it wasn't, it's sometimes it's like we talked about earlier in the show, it's not what you think. You know, I mean, I can really count on one hand how many times in my life I have felt lonely. Yet there was something about this year that affected me in that way. And so I think what Colette is saying is going to be extremely helpful to you. Thank you so much. Thank you for calling in. Colette, I want to ask you again, please let folks know about your show. And I also want them to know about your book, because The Truth is Funny is really something that I like to call it the encyclopedia of upgrading. Yes. You know? So what I did in this book is I learned a long time ago when I was putting ads out, if I corrected them in my business cards. And when I say corrected them, what I do is I just ask myself, I go inward and I ask, does this feel strong or does this feel weak? And this is what I teach in the morning at my seminars. I run 2 seminars. Right now I'm only doing seminars in Canada, because I'm writing all these manuals and I'm doing all these paintings and I want to finish it. And my manuals are coloring books, because and there's about 80 pictures. They're like those anatomy coloring books. Because what I have found is when people come to my seminars, what I found is if you could keep the mind happy by getting it to do something, like write or color or whatever, then I can come in on the other side from the heart and energetically shift them at a way higher rate. So really, when people come to my seminars, I'm sharing information, but the whole time I am energetically shifting the people there for an entire weekend. And the people that are attending the seminar are all working with each other to get what they want. We set an intention. Everybody tells me, I want to get this out of this weekend. And I'm getting amazing results, and I love it. So that's why I called it Call to Dance, partly because when I was too scared to get up and speak because I'd been bullied so badly as a child, I went and took belly dancing classes, and it was my call to dance.
Yeah.
And the other reason is because my dog was named that. And Moxie was quite an animal. But like, this is what I share this in many ways. My radio show right now, I've worked with Phil Free for 10 years. We've worked together almost every day for 10 years. He's hosting on the first Wednesday. Karen Campbell Benton is also hosting on the third Thursday. Her and I have worked together for about 7 years. These are and this is not my opinion. Energetically, anyone who wants to test this, these people are the upper 4%. These are experts at what they do. They have been doing what is going to become one of the most major ways of healing, because there's nothing left but energy work right now. Everything else has kind of been explored. And honestly, when I started doing this work, I didn't know about body parts. I called it the whatchamacallit next to the doohickey. And people would listen to a show I was on, and I have many documented cases of where people straightened out their body. Their backs were so messed up. People who were dying, people who had cancer, people who had major spine injuries, etc. People who had body parts that hadn't worked for 6 years, and all of a sudden they miraculously did. Babies that were born that were supposed to be unhealthy, that were perfectly healthy. Wow. All of these things are so possible. And I see it every day, and I forget sometimes how magnificent it all is.
Right. I think we do forget. And we also forget how possible change is and shifting is, because we don't think about it, right?
No, the reason is, Pat, because people don't pay attention to change, usually, unless it's crappy change.
That's right. I
can energetically shift someone. Like the other day, she had to have a root canal, and it turned out to be a filling instead. But she was sad after, and she didn't know why. And it's because she didn't have a bother anymore. And then she's afraid, okay, like if I don't, and this is very common with children who have been raised Roman Catholic, is that the other shoe's got to drop. If something good happens, something bad has to happen. But this has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with cause and effect. When we put people on a pedestal, there's only one place for them to go, down.
Yeah.
And so people reach their ultimate best. That's when they go the weakest, because they know that, hey, I got to be careful here because someone's going to knock me off this pedestal. And that's usually when they do some dumb, lame thing to ruin everything they've been working on for 7 years. And it runs in 7-year cycles. On a spiritual level. So we're just going to strengthen everybody out there. These are trying times. And I hate to tell you this, but there is no magic pill. As a matter of fact, as you energetically shift, what happens, it becomes more of a roller coaster because things happen way quicker.
Right.
So what you would get over in 3 years, you now get over in 3 minutes.
Yeah. One of the things I want to say about this and what you just said is, what you and I are talking about and what I've heard on your show and the people you work with, we're talking in some cases everyday things that happen, just like the caller, which is related to something else. But I've also heard you, and you have worked with people that nobody else gave any hope to.
Yeah.
Right?
They were told that they were dying.
You're going to die, or
your life is going to suck. You aren't going to ever be able to do.
Like the correction you did for Lyme disease, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the woman that I believe that created that testimonial for you. I mean,
yeah. Well,
reality.
Will Hatch and I worked on a protocol for Lyme disease. And it came to us and we worked on it. And then that woman listened to it. And when she listened to the second half, she phoned into the second half of that show.
Yeah.
And said that she doesn't have any symptoms anymore. And everybody's like surprised, but I'm not. Okay. Everybody else was shocked. I was pleasantly surprised. I do demos. I give Shift Happens live talk events on the Friday before my seminars on Friday night, because I like to have my students come, and then we like to go out dancing.
Yeah.
We go to a local bar and we dance, and it's $5 cover charge, and it's always a live band. And we go there and we get it creates family. And then the entire weekend we work with each other. And many of these people that are my students, I have thousands all around the world. I have one of my most wonderful students is in Egypt. When Leroy Malouf and I went over there 5 or 6 years ago and taught a seminar, and now that this man has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students in the Emirates and in Egypt teaching how to do energy work. Wow.
Well, this is it. And by the way, Raul is like, you are on fire, Colette. Well, there's a reason to be on fire, because you and I are passionate about where we are in life. We're committed to our vision and our mission. And, one thing for sure is to really talk loudly, to be vocally clear, and to create an energetic vibration, a shift that allows people to know that we are not limiting their lives, not on air, we're not ever. We're not limiting them, their journey, and what's possible by any outside situation.
Exactly. And the way that you do that is by getting neutral. My book is about neutrality. It's about if you can handle the absolute worst case scenario, which most of us are living on this planet right now. Look, we're on fire because we have a president in the United States that had a show that said, "You're fired."
Yeah.
And we right now have Mars in retrograde, and it's a very aggressive planet. And we have a solar eclipse.
I'm a little bit happy about, oh my God, we're out of time. I got to tell you, am I the only one on the planet that gets happy when these planet gets in retrograde? Because it slows it down for me.
Exactly. This is what I was just going to say. This is something that I share in my manuals, and it's about the Fibonacci series. Nature counts 1 + 1 = 2. 2 reaches back in time for 1, becomes 3. 3 reaches back in time for 2 and becomes 5. 5 reaches back in time and becomes 8. If we look at nature and we spend at least half an hour a day in nature to an hour a day, I would advise even more. And we see this, that in the pine cones, in the tree branches, in the flowers, in every single thing in our bodies, we all have this special Fibonacci series. And the thing is, it's natural in nature to go backwards. If all you ever do, Pat, is march forward in your life, then you're marching, aren't you? But if you want to dance through life, you got to go backwards. You got to go sideways. You got to have some fun.
Yeah. I got to tell you, it depends on what band you're marching with. If you're part of the Bethune-Cookman marching band that the whole movie Drumline was made out of, you are marching, you're jumping, you're going backwards, you're going sideways, you're doing squat dancing. That's the way to live a thriving life. Colette, thank you. Tell everybody when your show's on so they can tune in.
Wednesday morning, tomorrow, 8 o'clock Pacific time. And, Mercury's in retrograde, communication went a little sideways. And I ended up, we kind of somehow didn't have a guest for the show. So I'm so excited. Phil, I asked him, do you want to come on my show? Because I really miss working with you on the show. So tomorrow, if you would like to call in, 1-800, the same number that we have here now, into my radio show. Phil and I are going to be working together on the radio for the first time. You know, we work together not on the radio, but we're going to be working together on the radio for the first time in a long time together.
Wow.
And we're both on fire.
Wow. And by the way, you're going to see and hear a lot more from Colette Marie Stephan, because I said to Linda, why isn't she regularly on the show with me? So she doesn't even know that. Colette Marie Stephan, thetruthisfunny.com. All of you out there, stay tuned. We're not done yet. We are really kicking it up today. We'll see you in a minute.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.